Yeah.
But I was gonna ask, so because this is such a new character, and you were telling us some of your ways you got into it and your method acting off mic, but what did you do that was new for this character that you hadn't done for others before, and trying to get into it? And how early did that start? Was it right from when he told you the role? Was it there was some lead up? What happened with that?
Well, in terms of like how I got into this character any differently, I'd say there was just more prep time more than anything, because I feel like when Amelia and I talked, and we kind of eventually decided to make Max like more like deeper and have more to him, have more depth to him. It was like, okay, so now instead of prepping for like a couple days, just like, oh, kind of get into like a sad mood, a blue mood, like kind of just be kind of lonely, like don't talk to people. So then when I get on set, I'm kind of in that mindset. Instead of doing that, it was like, because that's not all he is, then it's planning in advance. Like, you know, you start to plan like, how did Max grow up? What was his, like, what kind of school did he go to? What kind of friends did he have in elementary school? What were like, what kind of phases did he go through like as a kid? You know what I mean? Like who his parents are, how was he raised, stuff like that. So there's definitely just like more like preset work.
Like you create the context.
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
character.
yeah. You like because you create the character, because like Max wasn't born the day the camera started, right? Like Max is supposed to be a 22-year-old kid, so Max has had 22 years of life. And you can't just walk on set as another person and not at least try to experience that, I feel like, right?
Sheesh.
So then it's like, how do you make 22 years of life in X amount of time, a week, a month, whatever? Like you don't have to, but you go through the highlights.
Okay, so
And
now
that
that
helps.
that filming is over,
Interesting.
do those thoughts that were Max's still stick with you every now and then? Like,
Whoa.
Ooh, interesting.
Has that
No, they
affected your
definitely do.
psyche?
They definitely do. I mean, I feel
Whoa.
like
And he wasn't involved in the project as long as it was around. Because it's funny, one thing,
No,
just a side
yeah.
note, you mentioned how much prep time you did have. I was worried because I didn't think we had enough prep time. Because the way it originally started was like months.
well, and that's what did I have, like 2 weeks, I think, and we met once before the first day of shooting
Yeah.
or something. Well, I was lucky because it was
We
during
barbecued.
quarantine.
I hosted a barbecue. That
That's
was
right,
good.
at Burgers. No, it was quarantine, so I had a lot of time, right? So like, even though I only had a week, I had like 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, if that's what I wanted to do. Like I did. It wasn't like I only could take time to work on this like at night after I finished work or school or whatever. Like I had literally nothing to do all day, so that helped.
So when you say work on this, you mean like literally sitting at your desk writing, this is Max's life? Like on
No,
paper?
not
or what?
necessarily. I mean, like it's different every day. You kind of like it's not so much I don't feel like it's the same every time, right? So like maybe for Max, I sat there and wrote a journal, but for another character, I would listen to music and just like think in my head and kind of get in the space. For another character, I would, like maybe like have fake conversations with like another person that like if I was that character. Like with Max, it just so happened to be kind of writing stuff down, and I think that's because Max doesn't really talk to other people. So I feel like Max would journal. I feel like Max has journals. So I started like just like writing about like. Yeah, I started like doing like just like a quick paragraph on like how my day was today as Max, and then I'd also like every day or every couple of days would work on like, okay, what did Max do when he was in like 5th grade?
that's an
Like,
incredible
you know what I mean?
commitment to the film.
Yeah, man.
That's
what it's supposed to be.
incredible.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's
does
the
make it
thing
great.
also, like that's the art form of acting, right? Like
Right.
that's what makes it so beautiful.
Well,
is-
it's people. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you don't make a character like at the end of the day also like, yeah, it's Max, but it's more like to me, like as much as I call myself like Max on set, like or whatever, and I'm Max on set, like Max isn't real. What's real is Jacob, and what's real is me. So like, how do I like? Okay, Max is feeling this, so what would like? How am I gonna portray it? And like, it's just like, how does Jacob get sad first, or how does Jacob become like antisocial, and then how do I just tweak that a little bit? But it's not fully Max. Like there's a lot of me in there.
Exactly.
You know what I
That's
mean?
exactly how you
There
make
has
it
to be.
yourself.
There has to be. How do I know what Max feels like to be anxious if I've claimed I've never felt anxious before, right? Like it's like for anything. Like for example, if like you had written in the film that Max experienced like his mom dying or something, right? Like if that was in the film, my mom's still alive, so I haven't experienced that pain. But then like, how does Jacob draw to something like, oh, maybe I've had like a pet that's died or like something, and then you kind of just tweak that and kind of do it that way.
Wow. So you're kind of like you're a vessel or a conduit for this energy, if you would, that is the character. It's not the character's not the physical
Yeah.
form.
No, you don't take form of Max. Max just kind of becomes a little bit of you.
Oh, Max is water, and you're the vase. Like water takes shape
Nice,
of whatever
nice,
goes
nice.
into it. Oh shit! And then the whole is the combination of both, and that's what becomes on screen. Is that like?
Yeah, I mean,
wow, dude.
yeah, it's
wow.
a pretty good metaphor.
Wow.
I had to think about it, but yeah.
Wow.
That was
I
pretty
just,
good.
it's always, not always, but it is interesting to hear about, the different creative processes from things I'm not too familiar with. Like just learning from James even about acting, like in the, however many, 2 years, we've 3 years, I don't know how long
Do you
it's
have like
been.
a creative process that you go to? Like, do you have something
It's not as in
consistent?
depth as that.